You're watching All To Play For, brought to you by Joe and Coral.
Hello and welcome to All To Play For, brought to you by Joe and Coral. Let's get into it, Joe, because we've had a bit of a nightmare here. You trying to get... It's like trying to get my nan on Zoom, Joe. Trying to
Mate,
get...
Listen, Tom, I made a conscious decision about 20 years ago where I've just thought to myself, no, this technology game ain't for me. I've just swerved it ever since. And I was getting more and more like, as it's becoming more and more part of our life, you can get away with it back in the day.
Well, you can't get away with you trying to have a podcast, Joe. It's...
I know, but usually I've got people around me with that kind of skills.
Yeah.
But I've had half of, I'm still out working in Dubai. I'm coming home tonight. And I've had half of Jumeirah and they were brilliant. We've tried 3 different laptops. I've had the head of IT, the head of the head chef, everyone. They've all been blinded and helping me out.
The head chefs, they're helping you out. I'll tell you, I'm just going to say one thing, right? Next time you go away, I'll go halves and I'll get Terry Ellis, Big Terry, to go with you. Because without Terry, you need him with you the whole time. This all falls apart without Big Terry Ellis.
It does, mate. It does. I don't know how I'd survive without him, Tom, honestly.
He's an absolute legend. Talking of legends, we have a bona fide legend with us today, an absolute one of the top players to play in the Premier League ever, an absolute top gentleman to boot. So I'm going to bring him in. Put your hands together for Mr. Andrew Cole. Yes, Andrew, how you doing?
Yes, Cole.
Thank you very much.
How you doing, sir? You good?
Yeah, not too bad.
My guy. How's life treating you? Are you keeping well?
Yeah, just get my head down. It is what it is. It's difficult for everyone. A little bit tougher for me, but just get my head down, crack on.
That's all we can all do. Look, I've got to say, of everyone we've had on this podcast, I spoke to my dad last night, and this is the most excited he's been about any guest. So, right, back in 1991, you went to Fulham on loan, didn't you?
Yeah.
My old man gets up. He used to get around a lot, but he's a big Fulham fan. So, Andrew goes to Fulham, right, Joe? And you were Division 3 then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Jim Stannard in goal.
Yeah, Jim. Yeah.
Anyway, my dad comes home from Fulham. I'm about 11 or 12, and he's like, "Mate, this kid who's playing down at Fulham, they've got him on loan. He's mustard. He's gonna, he's incredible. He's gonna do big things in the game." Right? He's talking about Coley, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, didn't really think too much about it." He took the credit for your success for the whole of your career. If we watch you in the Champions League play, when you're banging in goals for Newcastle, if you're playing for United. He'd been a pub guy. I told you so. All right, Tom, what did I say about Coley? 1991, I told you. He was going to be a world beater. I was like, he looked amazing, obviously, in that Fulham team. But the only player I remember is Jim Stannard, who was my size.
The first time I trained with England as a kid, I was 17. And everyone thinks of Coley as the goals. You think goal scorer, gets on the end of things. But I remember he impressed me the most with everything else in his game. Like holding the ball up, skills in training. I was like, it was one of them moments, and you get a few of them in your career when you're playing, going up the levels, you think, wow, that's the standard of centre forward, that is, because I only trained with him, but the little small-sided games, he was just carving people open, and it was a real eye-opener for me to see that level of player at that time, and Coley was the one that shocked me the most. Out of all of the great players around him, Shearer, Sheringham, Ince, he was the one where I thought, right, wow, the movement was like on point, and the ball was moving so sharp. I could remember coming home because all my mates, at 17, you're a kid and you're a football fan, and they all wanted to know. And I said, yeah, Andy Cole, he had too much.
It's nice to hear, Andy.
Yeah, of course. And I think when you go away on those trips, naturally you are trying to impress, but you're more trying to impress the manager than the rest of the boys, because you're all at that level for the same reason, because you're good enough. In the end, international level never really worked out for me, but listening to Joe there, I know I was more than capable to play at that level, not a problem.
Do you think as well, because the thing for you as well, Andy, is like when you, like my dad would say about that, and like going to Fulham, who, not the Fulham now, they're in the 3rd division, then you were at Bristol Rovers or Bristol City?
Bristol City. Banging
a goal, like genuinely, like that's my dad would say like that, to go from that, seeing you there, to that season at Newcastle where you were just like pinging in goal after goal, you were most exciting forward in the league, you were just incredible. How how much did that time at Fulham and Bristol, how much did that inspire you or push you to go, you know what, I'm gonna show everyone what I'm capable of type thing?
Yeah, I think massively. I think my first loan to Fulham, that was an experience just to realise the difference between, which was then League One Championship, Division One at Arsenal, and then going out to Fulham. If you look at, the training facilities and things like that, we used to train on a Putney fire station. You had to take your own kit home and wash it, and it was all caked in mud from the training pitch, because the training pitch was absolutely terrible. So when you're playing at that level, naturally you say to yourself, right, I want to go to the next level if I'm more than good enough. So I think for me, that was just my base to put the work in. Going to Bristol City was, that was possibly the best move I could ever have made in my career. Leaving Arsenal, Arsenal not fancying me. And then I just set myself from there. I'm just going to get my head down and prove a few people wrong at Arsenal. And that was always my motivation.
Yeah.
Coley, who was the manager at Arsenal that told you they didn't fancy you, or was happy to let go?
George Graham.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's like, obviously George is a football man, isn't he? And, he's had his own great career and won things and everything like that. That must give him sleepless nights, letting Andy Cole go. I didn't know that. Sorry, George, for giving that a shout out.
It is a weird thing though, because you must, as a manager, and like I don't know if you've ever been in that situation as well, Joe, but as a manager, like you must kick yourself, right? If you sold someone, you've let someone go, and sometimes obviously you let someone go and it's the right choice, and but to let someone go and then what, like 3-4 years later, that person is the most expensive player in the league and playing for arguably what is your greatest rival and playing well, is that, for me, I always think for my career and for what I do, I remember like when I first told people on building sites, I'm going to go and be a stand-up, and everyone was like, shut up, you mug. I got more inspiration and more push and drive through people who told me I couldn't do things than anyone who told me, oh, go for it. Oh, you're going to be amazing. That for me was always like, you know what? And now those people, when they message and go, oh yeah, any chance you can get me tickets to this? You're like, I remember 10 years ago, you prick.
Yeah. Honestly, I know where you're coming from there, because that's the way I looked at it in the end. I think I had so many people tell me what I couldn't do. I mean, I'm the kind of individual that I'll do it, laugh, and then they'll tell us, okay, then repeat. I tell us, I don't have to, I've already done it. I'll move on to my next task. What am I doing it again for? I could always do it.
Do you think
I always use that to galvanise me.
Do you think that's what gave you that still though? Like, because that's the one thing I think, like when you first went to United and like you had a run where you weren't scoring goals, you sort of, I always thought he's going to smash it, he's going to do this, or did you always in your head think, you know what, I've been through the side of this game where I was let go, I pulled myself back up to get to the level I was at Newcastle to be this guy, nothing can stop me. That inside yourself, you've got that resilience, and you don't need it from anyone else because you can pull that from yourself. Do you think that, for you?
Yeah. Oh, most definitely. I think, mentally, that's where it all comes from for me. Because mentally, you play football in your head before you play on the football pitch, And I think most people are brutally honest with themselves before anybody else can actually say anything. And I'm that guy. I'm very, very honest with myself. I don't need anyone to tell me if I have a good game, bad game, or a different game. I know the areas I had to work on and improve on. So, I always used to get into my own head, which at times, got a little bit brutal. But, I mean, I come out the other side okay.
What about you, JC? Because that's the thing that I look at. I think, like, your resilience within yourself is incredible. Stuff you've been through, injuries and, to keep playing and to keep on, do you get that resilience through success or do you get it through failure? Where do you think you get it from most?
I think all sportsmen, I think you get it through both, don't you? Because, and throughout all your journey, there's ups and downs. And the first 4 years at West Ham, I left school, I went to West Ham, went straight in the team, played. We did as good as probably we could do at that moment. And as an England squad at 18, made my debut at 19, and it was all, it was great. And there wasn't much setbacks. But in that period, after that, there was a bit of ups and downs when I first went to Chelsea. And then it kicked into gear for me at Chelsea. And then I had 7 great years there. And then the injury comes, and looking back at it now, that was the sort of the beginning of the end of my career. And you're constantly fighting day in, day out to try and get back to your level, but my body wouldn't quite get there. You know, any footballer will tell you that. It's the injuries that get you. So I think as a player, the best players, they don't rest on their laurels. They go on that pitch and they try and do it, And I played 20 years. I retired. I was in America. And, I was still trying. I still had, even at 36, I was thinking, could I still do it in the Prem? My brain was playing tricks with me because, you just had that mindset where you want to do it. So I think you get your motivation as a footballer or any sportsman from different areas, different characters. But, Coley's had, my career was different because it was straight in, and Coley had to go down the leagues and then come up. And then I remember the day he signed for Man United, before the internet, thank the Lord for that, for me. But I remember where I was queuing up to go to PE at school and whispered, Andy Cole signed for Man United. And it was just like, it was a massive deal, wasn't it, Coley? Did you know that it was like huge, such a big move back in the day?
I'll be brutally honest. I didn't think he was going to be as big as when it all came out, and obviously many years later. I just thought, Newcastle decided to sell me. I'll just move on. But all the commotion that the Newcastle fans made, and then going to Old Trafford and all the noise, is like, come on, man! It's like, I just want to play football. But it was absolute madness, and that took a little bit of time getting used to as well. Because like I said, I didn't understand the magnitude of leaving Newcastle, what the punters were going to be like leaving Newcastle, and then going to Man United, what the punters were going to be like at Man United, and all the media circus. That was really, really tough at the time.
What was the conversation with Newcastle when they accepted the bid? Did you have any idea it was on the offing, or was it just you go into training one day and they give you the nod?
It was a surreal one, because I remember it like it was yesterday. Played in the FA Cup against Blackburn at St James's Park, 1-1. Went in for a warm down on the Monday. Was indoors. Just sat down to watch Sheffield United against Manchester United in the FA Cup. Just sat down to watch that. And then all of a sudden, a representative called me, said, right, you're on the move to Man United, the deal's been done. I was like, I went in this morning to train. Kevin didn't say a word to me. Yeah, a little bit offish, but I got used to that in the end.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, there you go. I was gone.
So hold up, with Kevin, so you say Keegan was offish with you. Was that, because you even now it's a record, right? 34 goals in one season, still the record in the Premier League. How are you you're their best player, and how are you offish? So what was your relationship?
I had a real good relationship with Kevin, but one day I had a fallout with him. We played Southampton on the Sunday. And in those days, there was no flying anywhere. So we coached it from Newcastle to Southampton. Yeah. Ooh. Played on the Sunday. Went up to London because we had, I think it was Wimbledon in the League Cup. And I was shattered. I was absolutely shattered. I was gone. There's untold pressure on me. Got to keep performing, score goals, whatever. And I just want to try and enjoy my football. So played the game, warmed down the Monday. And I remember coming out. We were staying at, I think it was Selson Park, we stayed at, come out and whatever. Bowled over to the training pitch, and Kevin said to me, Coley, do you not fancy it today? I said, to be fair, I'm a bit tired. He said to me, right, if you don't fancy it, you can F off. I said, all right, then, not a problem. Walked in, got showered, packed my bag and left the hotel. And everyone turned around and said, you can't do that. So I said, the manager told me to do one, so I'm off. Yeah. I ain't got time to mess about. It was one of those ones. So I went missing up until the Thursday. No one could get hold of me. Turn my phone off, everything. And then they said, look, you're going to have to come back on Thursday night. So I went back up Thursday night, had a meeting with Freddie Shepherd, who's no longer with us, a few of the board members. And after this meeting, it was crazy. They gave me a new 4-year contract. That's how crazy it was. Yeah. And then not long after that, I actually moved into Man United. So it was like it all happened so fast. After that one game against Southampton, that's how quick the move happened for me moving to Man United.
I think that what you just told us there, Coley, I think that sums up Newcastle as a club in the sense like that seemed like such an emotional thing. You've had a fallout with a manager. Freddie Shepherd has realised that you're the asset and put down on a 4-year contract, and then you've been sold like days later. That's just like as much. I know Newcastle fans probably won't enjoy me saying that, but because I love watching your Newcastle team throughout the 90s, and they've had great teams, but they've never won anything because it just seems like so many emotional decisions around the club, and the fans are so passionate. The fans are so passionate. But when you walked in the door at Man United with Fergie, that must have seemed like walking into a team which is like sort of a run off the cuff sort of thing into Fergie. Seemed to, from the outside anyway, it seemed like he run it like a business, like it was professional. Demands were made, and it took you a while to settle. But when you did, the goals were just flowing from there. And you know, obviously we talk about your partnership with Yorke, but mate, how long do you think it took you before you finally felt comfortable in that Man United shirt?
Really, it took me a good couple of years. You know, when I start asking questions of myself, instead of me just going in there doing exactly the same thing at Newcastle, just going in there playing, I started to think about it a little bit too much, and you know, the enjoyment kind of like went a little bit because I was thinking about it too much, you know, and then get myself back in the groove, playing with better players. Man United played a totally different way. At Newcastle, the team was built for me. It's as simple as that. You know what? The team was like what Tottenham do with Harry Kane now. That is Harry Kane's team. Yeah. Newcastle was built for me.
Yeah.
All the players had to get the ball in the box for me. Peter Basie got in positions to try and provide me. And everyone, Kevin used to say, let's get the Cole in the box. I don't want him coming out the box. I want him in the box. So that's what it was there. So going to Man United, I had to change the way I played. You know, I had to get involved a little bit more. And I remember Brian Kidd said to me, if you think scoring 41 goals is going to be good enough at this football club, you're having a laugh. And I said to him, this guy's taking the mick out of me, by the way. That's what it's about. Yeah? Then I actually realised he was more than scoring goals. So it took me a couple of years to get going. But once I found my rhythm, and then Yorke came in, and, you know, it was special. I remember the night that we played West Ham when we was having problems with the floodlights and all that. Yeah. You know, and I remember sitting in the dressing room with the gaffer. And the gaffer was on about Joe, and he said, one day Joe will come, he'll play for Man United because he's a Man United player. So me and the gaffer just in the dressing room chilling, having a laugh on Joe. And then we ended up having this conversation about Joe, and I said, you know, he is definitely a Manchester United player. He could play for Man United. It never materialised in the end, but I knew the gaffer was always watching you. Yeah. He genuinely believed that you could come to Man United and play. And to play at Man United, as you know, you're not going to get many places better to play at.
Joe, what do you make of that? What do you make of that? That's an amazing thing to hear, right?
Yeah, I mean, I know. Obviously, I went there as a kid at 14, 15, and that's why Fergie's the best, because he made me feel when I walked into Manchester United training ground like so special. And you think about it, he's a manager of Man United, and I'm a 14-year-old kid coming up from London. And he found the time to speak to my parents. And that's why that was sustained success, because he wasn't just thinking about the players on the pitch doing it for him, the Brian Robsons, the Mark Hugheses, then later on the Andy Coles, the Dwight Yorkes. He was thinking of the next generation, and 5 years thinking, you know that old saying, it's chess, not checkers. Yeah. That's exactly it. He's thinking 7 or 8 moves ahead, Alex Ferguson. And that's why he was a great. But yeah, that particular era, I think they're the two best teams I think Premier League has seen. Both have been from Manchester United. I think that sort of late 90s, early 2000s Manchester United team was special. And also the Manchester United team of 2008 was the two best teams I've played against, period. They were like, I made my debut for West Ham up at Old Trafford in 98, I think. And, mate, that was an eye-opener. We got taken apart. And do you know what? If you're going to start your career, I knew that, right, I'm on the pitch against them. And I did okay. I thought,
I remember the game.
Yeah, if I can do okay against these legends, then I'll be all right. Do you know? And so when we played the other teams, I was always knew I could handle myself. That was a big eye opener.
I mean, going into that team there, like Coley, when you look at that, Dwight Yorke comes in. Did you like the fledglings, Fergie's boys there? Did you is that the season you got beaten by Villa, didn't you? First game of the season. And
No.
Was that the year before?
Yeah.
Yeah, but even that season, did you was that did Yorke come in the year after that?
He come the year after, yeah.
Yeah, because he was a part of, I suppose, that Villa team that beat you in that opening game. But did you see the components coming together like during that season? And when Dwight come in, you're like, wow, well, this is. Did you know that you were? I mean, that's the best Premier League team I've ever seen. Did you know you're on the precipice of greatness there?
I'll be brutally honest with you, Tom. Yeah, when Yorke came in, the manager was after Clivert.
Oh, really?
To come in as well, yeah.
Wow.
And Patrick ended up going to Barcelona.
Yeah.
No, so Pat ended up going to Barcelona. So the manager was like playing Yorke, Teddy, Giggsy, Scholesy, Ollie. And I never got a game till about 2 months into the season. We played at the Old Dell. And we ended up winning, I think it was 3-1 we ended up winning. I scored one, Yorke got the other. I can't remember. I think it was Giggsy might have got the other one. And then after that, it was like the manager actually stumbled on that partnership.
Yeah.
That one game was like, everyone was like, oh my God, have you two been working? So I've not been played. It's my first game. And everyone knew it was my first game. You know, but me and Yorke we had this uncanny knack that we both knew what each and other wanted. And then the partnership from there was insane. It was just meant to be.
But that's again coming down to that resilience, isn't it? You're not playing for 2 months, and you come in within 2 months, and arguably, but like make what is probably the best like forward partnership that the Premier League's ever. You know, that's I think even like in Europe that year, it was like even as a West Ham fan, and I've got no massive love for Man United. It was electric, like to watch you and Dwight play together. I think like I can't think of another team. Like I just remember just seeing the little 1-2s, the way that you know, and you can look across that team and Becks and Scholes, Keane, Kiggs. We all know but the reason to watch that United team for me anyway at that time was you and Yorke. With you when you're playing in that team as well. Are you looking over your shoulder at like Ole and Teddy and thinking like as good as this is, I don't want them coming in to mix it. So I'm just gonna.
I've got to be very, very honest here. I didn't even do that because anytime we had the opportunity to play with each another, it worked.
Yeah.
It worked. We all scored goals. We never stood in the same positions, and the rotation with each another was just phenomenal. So when people say things just work out, they work out. So the manager had 4 strikers, and it all worked. We could all play with each other. But the manager always knew in his head what his preferred strikers were.
Yeah.
So I was fortunate it was going to be me and Yorke. If it was a big game, if we're going to play Liverpool or Chelsea or whatever, me and Yorke are going to play up front. When people say, were you looking over your shoulder? Of course you are, because you want to be in the team. But I think me and Dwight got to the stage whereby we knew the manager was going to pick us. If we're going into a big European game or the big games in the league or whatever, we knew we were his preferred 2 in the end.
Right. Who's winning the league this season? Maybe the Toffees can continue their great form. Will the Blues benefit from German firepower? Will it be about a Belgian who can put a ball on a sixpence? How are the champions going to cope without him? Whatever happens, it's going to be exciting.
No one knows football better than a Coral Football Better.
I look at that team now, like top of the league. You're a United fan now, right? You'd say, yeah. So top of the league, played well. I think it's a weird thing, isn't it? Like football, because Pogba, I love as a player. I think Paul's an incredible player, and football has a funny old way of like someone coming to fruition, and there's questions asked of Paul. And then the other night, wow, like he was dominant, scores the goal. You're like, is it the time where Pogba comes to fruition? I think we know we're coming to you're playing Liverpool this weekend. What how much are you looking at your chances of winning this year and thinking, this is a real chance? It's written in the stars. There's a part of me that I believe in fate and stuff. I think Marcus Rashford, one of the most incredible human beings on the planet at the moment. He's an amazing young man. And then you think, wow, like Pogba coming back and all of a sudden starts flying, starts playing well. Things are sometimes bigger than the game itself. What do you think you can win it? Is what I'm trying to ask.
I've got to be very, very honest. For us to win it, we would really have to go some. You're going to have to see the other two teams drop a hell of a lot of points. Yeah. I'm looking at Manchester City now. They're running into form. They've not kicked a ball all season, and then the last month they're running into form. Yeah. Liverpool, if you take away their injuries, which naturally is part and parcel of football, you take away their injuries, I'll possibly say they'll be 10 points clear already.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So for Man United to win it this season, man, it's going to take some. I'm so happy that we're in the position we're in. Top of the league, not been there since the gaffer retired. But looking at it, there's better teams. Man United have not even hit top form yet, but they're at the top of the league. They've grind out results. Look at some of the football. They've not played particularly well, but they've grinded. I'm just so proud to see them there because it's not been easy. Every week they give away all his job to someone.
You know what? One thing I have to say is I've been one of the people on telly thinking, I can't see it. I can't see where Man United are going when they was chopping and changing. I could see it going forward. Greenwood, Rashford, Martial, Bruno Fernandes, I absolutely love. I think he could have played in any Man United team in any era. I think he's that good. I thought they hadn't quite got the balance right behind them at times. Like the pressing, they don't look as explosive on the press as what Liverpool did, but they've hung in there. And you've got to give Ole credit for how many times over the last 18 months is it seemed like he's been close to losing his job?
Yeah,
he's gone about his work. Do you know one thing I would say about Ole? I don't know him personally. I think he carries himself so well.
Oh man,
with such dignity and he's but not like in a meek way where he's got a lot of stick from the press. And I hold my hand up. I wouldn't say stick, but I just couldn't see where they were going. But I think in his interviews he holds himself very well, and they've put something together now. But I agree with Coley in the sense that I think Man City can't believe they're still in with a shout. Liverpool will be there or thereabouts, and it depends on who they sign in the next few weeks, and also players coming back from injury and things like that. But Man City and Pep Guardiola will be looking at themselves thinking, how are we still in this? Because some of their performances early on were miles off of the great Man City sides of the last 4 or 5 years. But they're coming good. And Man United, mate, what a job he's done to get them up there. But we'll have to... I'm going to reserve judgment until maybe March to see. Because if they can continue this, obviously they're going to be about. But I've seen weaknesses in their game. In certain aspects, I don't feel like they press as a unit. And I feel sometimes they can look a little bit bitty when they have to break a team down. So I reserve judgment till March, but I've got to tip my hat to Ole and his team. Michael Carrick, good friend of mine, and the other boys. And they've done a great job keeping that ship steering in the right direction.
The thing I'd say about it as well, and I don't know what you both... when we played them, and the first half when we played United, West Ham played United, like is up there. I thought, but I remember I'm in a WhatsApp group with a load of West Ham boys, and they're all like, we could smash United here, and you're like, it's still United. And what I watched a lot of them this season, what I look at it, I think this is the credit that Ole doesn't get is, there was this sort of thing, they need to be 1 goal down to win a game. But like to go in at half time, and I've never been in a Premier League dressing room. Well, not legally. I've snuck around them a bit, but to be able to do that time after time and have your team down, and I think second half United, Rashford, like Fernandes come on, and you're like, wow, like Rashford's just like, I think he's finding a space and sort of like, defensively we've been great this year, but Rashford, the one player I watched is us playing, I'm like, wow, he's just picking holes everywhere. His movement and his, but that second half was like another team had come out and they just picked us apart. So there's a part of me that thinks, Pep and United, Pep and City, and then you obviously Liverpool. Maybe you could throw Tottenham into that mix. But there's a part of me when I look at United and I think they seem to have a bit of spirit going. And if he can add something maybe in this window, I don't know. I mean, what do you think of that, Coley? Andy. Sorry,
what do I think? Oh man, I like where you're going, Tom. I like it. But I'm honest. I know what it takes to win the league.
Yeah.
You know, and to win the league is not easy. You can't win it in January. So when everyone's saying, "Oh, Man United top the league," I have a little chuckle at. You know, I'm delighted to see the boys there in the football club there. But I know, as a manager always used to say, the league doesn't get started until like March, April.
Yeah.
You know, you got the Easter period and everyone's going to drop a few points. And as the gaffer used to say, squeaky bum time, because that's when you got to get those results.
Yeah.
You know, and if you're still amongst it then, you're going to see, who's got enough to win it.
Yeah.
But up until then, you know, I mean, it's nice to be at the top of the league in January. It's lovely looking down on everybody, but everyone's chasing you then.
Do you know what I think the Premier League's going to be this year? It's going to be like a game of pass the parcel. Because it's going to be teams going like that, and whoever got the parcel at the end is going to be the champions. It could be anyone, 4 or 5 teams. It could
Were you saying West Ham? Yeah.
Listen, I threw them in 2 weeks ago. I got ridiculed, but why not? Throw them in. It's a strange year. Do you know what I mean?
Very
unprecedented times.
Talking of those times, though, and I'm sure you remember this as well, Jack. Where were you when Keegan had the big shouting like, "I'd love it if we beat them" thing? Were you at United or were you at Newcastle at that time?
I was at United. I remember watching it like it was yesterday. You know, and I know Kevin. Kevin's very emotional. Emotional. Yeah,
because as a fan, you'd love that senior manager being like that.
Yeah, and I think that the gaffer must have said something a couple of days before, by saying, you know what, no, let's see if Leeds have got enough to beat Newcastle and all that. So, I mean, as if the gaffer was intimating that Leeds were going to lie down for him. You know? But that wasn't the case. And then Kevin took that on board and they didn't get the result they needed at Ellen Road. And he went into one. And then after that, we went in the day after, the gaffer said, you know, we're going to win it.
Wow.
We will go to win it.
So that's such a mad thing of like leading, because they were like, wasn't it like, were they 17 points clear at one point?
I think 11 to 13 points clear. And playing well.
Yeah, playing really well.
And playing well.
Les was amazing, wasn't he, that season?
Yeah. But that's what I mean. When you don't have players who have been in that position before, and then we got St. James's Park, we got absolutely pumped, I ain't going to lie.
Yeah.
Peter Schmeichel's pulling saves out of nowhere. We end up winning the game 1-0.
I remember it.
Yeah. You know, we come away thinking, right, we've got them here, by the way. And then after that, Newcastle, no, they've got to win it virtually every game because we're on a run. We beat them at their place and we're on an absolute run now.
Yeah.
You know, so that's when the pressure comes in to win the Premier League. You know, so sitting there in January, lovely. But, man, there's a long way to go. 21 games.
Do you know what, mate? He's spot on what Coley says, because like I said, we won it. We've done it back to back. It was a great achievement, and it was 3 years before we won it again. And Fergie don't make many mistakes, but in 2010, we went up to Old Trafford with 2 games to go, and we was, I think we was a point behind, and then we had 2 home games after that, which were winnable. Wigan, which we won 8-0, and another team. So it was effectively the title decider. And Man United had big Champions League games either side of our game. So Ferguson actually rested about 3 or 4 players, and he doesn't usually make mistakes. But, you know, so obviously we prepared for the best United team. It wasn't the best United team that played us. And going into that dressing room, that big pressure game, and you got Ballack, you got Lampard's, Terry's, you know, Ashley Cole, we went into the game. And like Coley said about the Newcastle game, we got battered. But we won the game 2-1. And it was only what got us through that game was our experience. It was like we've done it before. We know what's required. They've given us a little chink of light, because if he would have played all the big, I think he left Rooney out, for instance, and maybe Giggsy or something. If he'd have played with the big hitters, I think they would have probably beat us that day. But they give us a little chink of light. We wasn't playing that well, and just that experience, just being strong, you know, stopping and playing, and then we nicked a couple of goals and we won 2-1. So experience is vital. And that's why I believe Man City are in the driving seat, because they've got players that have done it and they know what it takes. And that is so valuable come March, April time.
I mean, Man City are the favourites with Coral at the moment, 8-11. Liverpool 3-1, United 6-1. I mean, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to have a little bet on United, but it's, do you like that front three though? Like, the guys you got there, like Andy, like Rashford. I love Rashford. I think he's a great player. Greenwood looks the real deal, doesn't he? And Martial, I think, just looks like he's come on leaps and bounds. He obviously always had that raw talent, but he really looks the part now. I think Martial.
I do like him. I'm not going to lie to him. I really do like him. I think you mentioned Martial there. I think he should be doing so much more with his ability. He should be scoring so many more goals. If you watched him the other night, I'm sitting down, I'm pulling my hair out. He gets in great positions, and then he doesn't finish the way a man should finish of his ability.
Yeah.
He's got 2 Premier League goals this season, 2.
Wow.
In January.
Wow.
That's. I mean, you're in the Man United number 9 shirt.
Yeah.
And however you look at it, come on.
Yeah.
With your ability, only getting 2 Premier. I know you was injured early on the season, but he still only got 2 goals. And if you play for Man United, if Man United had a 26, 27-year-old Cavani and he's got those chances, oh my God, Man United winning 3s and 4s.
Yeah.
Because he's got that quality and that's what he wants to do. But in general, I look at the boys up front and they're explosive, they've got great talent, loads of pace there. Just play to your abilities, guy.
Do you think that there's an argument to look at that, look and think, maybe what we do need is an out-and-out goal scorer, is someone who can come into that sort of, obviously, Cavani, without any disrespect to him, legend of the game, but he feels like probably a bit of a stopgap there. When I watch Greenwood, I think at some point Greenwood's going to come into the centre, right? He's so naturally, his ability in the box, his all-round game's great, but he feels like he's going to score lots of goals. But do you think that's, even like, if you looked at it, and obviously it's sort of dream talking, but like Harry Kane in that, when I think if Harry Kane played in that United team, just naturally how he's playing now, but playing in that United team playing with Greenwood and Rashford off him and Martial off him, that you've got that would be incredible, right?
Yeah, see, for me, those kind of things are interesting. All those kind of permutations, because when an individual leaves one club and goes to another club, everyone thinks he's going to work automatically, But if you see the way Man United is set up to the way Spurs are set up,
they'd
have to change things.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the way Son plays with Kane, it works.
Yeah.
Because the team is actually built for Harry. So if we go to Harry, he can drop as deep as he wants and that. But Man United have more than enough players in that. They've got Bruno in midfield. So why would you want Harry to drop in those kind of positions? You want him to get out of the park, and score as many goals as possible. So, that would change the dynamic of the team. That change the dynamic of his play as well. Because if you watch Harry Kane play now, he plays totally different now to how he's playing a year or 2 years ago. As we get older, we lose a yard of pace, and his injuries is picked up as well. So all those kind of things are so interesting.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great end to the season. We've got a section on this show, the show here, Andy, where it's called "What Really Happened." It's a new segment. We did it last week. Jason McAteer. It's actually we put out, say that you're coming on the show. People ask a question, what really happened? And it's about you slipping out of football. I mean, we all like to depart away from the job that we do day to day at the moment. I don't know if you've heard rumours. I'm becoming a WWF wrestler. We've all seen that Joe Cole's dipped his toe into the world of acting with those adverts. In 1995...
Listen, you give me the seal of approval, big man.
But I tell you,
give
I've
me the
seen
seal
potential.
of approval. Listen, I'm waiting for my part in the next King Gary.
I think you could be the new Bradley Walsh. In 1995, Eddie, you stepped into the world of music with a single. How did that come about? What actually? How did it work?
Well, the single came about, after we won the treble.
Yeah.
Yeah, and after winning the treble, man, you think you can walk on water, wrestle with the sharks. You can do anything you want to do because then, in football, what can beat that? Unless you're going to win the World Cup and things like that. And someone asked me, I was on the crest of a wave, man. I said, right about now, I'll do anything.
Yeah.
And that's how that came about. Because I was living my best life.
Mate,
my football career was on a high.
Mate, I think hats off to you.
Who sung the original? It was because that was
Kenny Thomas.
Yeah, it's a track. It's a track, Colin. You did it justice, mate. Listen, I'm a bit of a karaoke man myself. You know, I can spit a few lyrics with the best of them. Don't worry about that.
You know what? I re-listened to it. It's actually a banger. You know what? That's one thing I love when people do that. I think that, and I think we go back to that thing, Coley, where we talk about going to Newcastle and thinking, I think so many people in life worry constantly about, I always think with whatever I do, I think, well, the worst that can happen is you're gonna fall on your face and you might not work out for you, but you've tried, and there's a lot to be said about actually doing something and then going, it's there now. I did that thing. Was it like in the dressing room and stuff? Because that was great about that time. I guess it was a time where football was coming so massive. People like Beckham's modelling. Do you know what I mean? Like people are out doing different things. Vinnie Jones has become an actor. It's like, do you know what I mean? It's like football was just becoming so mainstream at that time, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think, especially after that season, we had an opportunity to do a lot of things. All the boys did, you know what? I just grasped it with both friends and said, just have a go. I mean, enjoy it. Enjoy it, because the crazy thing is when you win anything, especially being at Man United, you win anything, you win it, and then within a couple of days, that's it. It's gone. Yeah, you're looking forward to the next season, the next this, next that. The manager never ever made us rest on our laurels. If he did, you're out the front door. Yeah. And that was the crazy thing about playing for Manchester United.
And you were a legend for United, and a legend as a guy. You know, I got to say, like as I said at the top of the show, like my old man was buzzing because he's been a long time fan, and when I met you at Soccer AD, I thought. I said to him, and I've got to say, man, you were an absolute gentleman to meet there, and a really, it's a good guy, and there was pinch of moments because, I look at even my life and look at you. I remember so I was 11 or 12 when I first heard of you, and then you're at Newcastle, and I was at school like you were, Joe, when Andy's coming through. It's a mad thing to say because you look better than I do that, you both do. But I suppose that's a spokesman thing. But I remember sitting there on the bench at Soccer Aid and looking over and thinking, that's mad. I'm on the bench with Andy Cole. Do you know what I mean? Man, it's been, thank you. We like one more thing to do. We do the predictions, right? How did we do last week? Fairly poor showing again, actually, Joe. We've both got one right out of two, and Villa Spurs was postponed. So actually, it was a bit of luck for us, Joe, that was postponed.
Yeah, hold on. Why did we get out of two?
We got 1 out of 2 right, and a game was postponed. Right. And we beat Jason McAteer. So that's the first time we've beaten a guest, Joe, in all the time we've done it. So here we go. We're going to go first game. All I need is the team name for the win or a draw. So first up, Andy, is Leicester versus Everton.
Leicester.
Joe?
Draw.
I'm going to go Everton. Okay. West Ham, Burnley.
In me?
Go
West Ham.
I'll go draw. I know it's boring, but I'm getting competitive now. I want to win.
I'm going to go West Ham. I'm going to go West Ham all day long. I have to, really. And I'm disappointed in you, Joe. I'll be calling you after this about that. Lastly.
I want to win, mate. I want to win. Burnley coming back into it, I'm telling you.
I think I know the answer to this one. Liverpool, Man United. Andy?
I'm going to go for a draw.
Oof. Joe?
Liverpool.
I'm going to go United.
Getting some horrible looks here as well. Some of the Man United fans in the room over there, socially distanced.
Mate, it's Liverpool at evens. With Coral, Liverpool at evens for that. Draw at 27-10 and United 13-5. I fancy United, I've got to tell you. I really do. We'll see.
Good price. It's a good price.
The legend that is Andrew Cole, it's been an absolute joy and a pleasure having you on here, mate. Thank you so much for making the time.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me.
I look forward to seeing you again,
Coley.
sir.
For sure, 100%.
You've been listening to All To Play For, brought to you by Joe and Carl. I've been Tom Davis. He's been Joe Cole. Hopefully next week, Joe, we can get you back in and get you on here a little quicker.
Sorry, mate.
I'll tell you what, otherwise I'm going to be, hello, welcome to All To Play For, brought to you by Joe and Coral. I'm joined by Elsie today.
Ada, 90-year-old tech whiz. Get me a Nokia and I'll be happy, man. Bring them days back.
Thank you so much for listening. See you next week.
You've been watching All To Play For, brought to you by Joe and Coral.